Welcome to the deep dive. For the longest time, it really felt like the mobile operating system landscape was pretty much a settled battle, right?
Yeah, definitely. iOS versus Android. That
Yeah,
was the main event.
exactly. Fighting over app stores, maybe sleek interfaces. But what if that whole game is changing?
Uh-huh.
It seems like the new front line, the really fascinating place where things are evolving now, is artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. And what's really striking here, I think, is we're not just talking about, you know, tacking on a few AI features.
Right.
Huawei's latest move with HarmonyOS 6,
Yeah.
it feels like a complete reimagining. They're actually building what they're calling an AI-first platform from the ground up.
And that's exactly what we're going to dig into today. Our mission is to unpack HarmonyOS 6, try and pull out the really surprising insights about what this means, not just for the tech world generally, but maybe more importantly for you, the person actually using these devices.
Okay, so if we look at the core innovation, the really central piece is this AI agents framework in HarmonyOS 6.
The High Agents Framework.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And crucially, these aren't just like extra apps or optional things. Huawei describes them as the fundamental architecture, the thing that drives how you interact with the whole system.
So it's deeper than just features.
Much deeper. It really pushes the operating system beyond being just a passive platform waiting for you to tap an icon.
Okay, so when you say AI-first architecture, what does that actually feel like? Or how does it change how a device works day to day? Is it still just about opening apps, or is it more fundamental?
I think it's a really profound shift. Try thinking about it less like your phone just runs apps and more like it has this intelligent assistant baked right into its DNA.
Yeah.
These systems, they're designed to constantly learn your habits, maybe anticipate what you need next, and sometimes even, take proactive steps for you.
Wow.
It really transforms the OS into this intelligent intermediary, always kind of working for you in the background.
That sounds incredibly powerful, potentially for users. But what about the people building for this, the developers? Does this make developing AI stuff way more complicated?
Interestingly, it seems like the goal is the opposite.
Oh,
Yeah, the HarmonyOS agent framework, it's actually designed to make AI development more accessible, at least within Huawei's ecosystem.
how so?
Well, developers can create these automated programs, these AI agents, without needing the huge complexity of building or training the foundational AI models themselves from scratch.
Ah, okay. So it lowers the barrier to entry for AI integration,
Exactly. It simplifies that process quite a bit.
which could definitely speed up getting more AI-powered things out there.
Right.
And this isn't just theory, right? I saw Richard Yu Chengdong, the chairman of Huawei's consumer group. He announced something about this.
That's right. He mentioned that over 50 AI agents from big Chinese platforms, think Weibo, Himalaya, they'll be ready for consumers right when HarmonyOS 6 launches publicly.
Okay, 50 right out of the gate. That's significant.
It is. Although, worth mentioning, they haven't given a specific public release date for HarmonyOS 6 just yet.
Gotcha. Okay, so shifting gears slightly, let's talk about the ecosystem as it stands now. Before this big AI push, what kind of scale are we looking at?
Well, the current numbers are pretty impressive on their own. Huawei's reporting 8 million registered developers now.
8 million. Wow.
Yeah. And those developers have contributed over 30,000 applications. Plus, they have these things called atomic services.
Atomic services, what are those?
They're sort of like lightweight programs, mini apps almost. They can run without needing a full installation.
Interesting. Quick on-demand functions.
Exactly. And we also know that the current version, HarmonyOS 5, is already running on more than 40 different device models. The base is there.
But despite that growth, and 8 million developers is a lot, Huawei's been pretty honest about where they stand globally, haven't they?
They have. Richard Yu himself said, HarmonyOS still lags behind iOS and Android in terms of global reach and just the sheer number of available apps worldwide.
Right. So how do they strategize when they're up against those kinds of giants? Apple and Google have such established ecosystems.
And that's where their thinking gets really interesting, I think. It's about how they measure success.
Okay.
You pointed out this stat. The top 5,000 apps accounted for 99.9% of consumer time spent on Huawei devices.
99.9% from just 5,000 apps.
Yeah, which suggests a really pragmatic strategy. Instead of just chasing the total number of apps, which they know they can't win right now.
They're focusing laser sharp on the ones people actually use.
Precisely. It's about the quality, the depth, the engagement within those essential apps, making sure those are great, its impact over sheer volume.
That's a smart way to compete when you're not the market leader. And it feels like their ambition goes way beyond just phones and tablets, too. They've also introduced Pangu 5.5.
Yes, Pangu 5.5. That's their latest family of AI models. And these are specifically designed for enterprise and industrial uses. This feels like a huge strategic move.
Definitely sounds like it. What makes these Pangu models stand out?
Well, the technical scale is pretty formidable. Their natural language processing model, the NLP one, has 718 billion parameters.
718 billion.
Billion, yeah. And the computer vision model has 15 billion parameters. These are numbers that put them right up there, competing with leading global AI models in terms of potential capability.
That's serious firepower. And they're not just building general models, they're targeting specific industries.
That's right. 5 key sectors initially: medicine, finance, governance, manufacturing, and automotive. High-value, complex areas.
Okay, so what's the strategic thinking there, focusing on industry, especially when, as we said, the consumer market access has been sticky for them?
Well, I think from a wider perspective, this industrial focus lets Huawei really strengthen its relationships with businesses, with enterprises.
Right, which is crucial given the geopolitical constraints they face on the consumer side.
Exactly. It opens up another major avenue. Plus, think about the integration. You have these powerful Pangu AI models connecting directly with HarmonyOS 6.
Ah, the vertical integration angle.
Yes. It creates this tightly integrated stack where Huawei controls everything from the foundational AI right up to the operating system where it's deployed.
Which could give them significant advantages in, say, optimizing how it all works together. Performance benefits.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Better optimization, maybe tailored performance for specific industrial tasks. It's a strong position to be in.
Okay, let's look at their market momentum then. I saw some figures from Canalys, the consultancy.
Yeah, those numbers were pretty striking.
They've shipped over 103 million smartphones and 21 million tablets running HarmonyOS. But the really interesting part was that almost half of those were delivered just in 2024.
That's right, nearly half this year alone. That shows really strong, accelerating adoption, at least within China's domestic market.
Huge momentum there. And does that tie into their broader device strategy? Because it's not just phones and tablets anymore, is it?
No, exactly. It connects directly to that multi-device ambition.
Yeah.
Just last month, they launched 2 new laptops running HarmonyOS.
Laptops, too. Okay.
So yeah, they're clearly aiming for this unified software experience across phones, tablets, laptops, maybe other devices down the line.
Kind of like Apple's ecosystem approach. One seamless experience.
That seems to be the goal. It's obviously a massive technical challenge to make that work smoothly across such different types of hardware, but that's the direction.
So if we zoom out, take the big picture view, what does this HarmonyOS 6 development, with all its AI focus and multi-device push, really represent for Huawei as a company? Is it just another OS update?
Oh, I think it's much more than that. It really feels like a sign of a deeper transformation.
How so?
HarmonyOS 6 isn't just, version 6. It reflects Huawei's broader strategic evolution. They're actively shifting from being primarily seen as a hardware company.
Right, known for their phones and network gear.
To becoming much more of a software and services provider. And honestly, a lot of that strategic pivot seems driven by necessity, right? By the U.S. entity list restrictions they've faced since 2019.
So the restrictions force them to innovate in a different direction, essentially.
It certainly looks that way. They had to find new ways to grow, new areas to be relevant, and software services and this deep dive into AI seem to be central to that.
Okay, so to kind of wrap things up, HarmonyOS 6, it's not just a new version number. It really represents this major strategic pivot for Huawei. And maybe more broadly, it signals a whole new front opening up in the global mobile OS competition.
Yeah, by embedding AI agents right into the core architecture, it's fundamentally challenging our idea of what an operating system even is or what it can do.
Which leads to a really interesting final thought for you, listening.
Yeah, maybe consider this.
Yeah.
What would it actually feel like to use a truly AI-first operating system every day, where these AI agents aren't just apps you open, but the very fabric of how you interact with your technology? And how might this sort of quiet revolution that's starting with HarmonyOS 6 potentially reshape the global tech landscape? And maybe well beyond just the Chinese market in the long run. Something to mull over.